Hello, it is a new week. It's currently the 4th of August, and I read two books in the month of July. So I don't really have many books to talk about. This is just gonna kind of be like an update video. First, we'll start off with the two books that I did read in July. I was very, very burnt out. I'm still kind of burnt out from reading books, but I'll talk about what I have been reading a little more after. So the first book I actually read, well, I listened to the audiobook, was Yellowface. I honestly didn't think I was really going to enjoy this book that much, simply because it didn't sound like something that would really interest me. I tend to prefer fantasy and possibly like, contemporary romance or dark romance or whatever. And I was like, it is going to be something I can kind of relate to in the sense of it has representation of an Asian character. And I was like, cool, we stand. And then also seeing white people profit off of Asian culture. And I was just interested. And also, I love R.F. Kuang. So I was like, hopefully her writing will intrigue me. And I actually annotated it as I was listening to it. And I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I expected. I had very low expectations for how much I would like it. I knew the writing was going to be good because it's R. Kwang, but I wasn't sure if I myself was going to even be able to finish it or have any interest in it. But like, it was actually quite interesting. And obviously, the commentary, hearing the main character try and justify her actions and things like that, and then also the kind of thriller aspect towards the end was unexpected, I guess, or kind of just out of the blue to me, but I didn't mind it. I think I gave it 4 stars. An extra point just for the writing style itself. If the writing style was different, I don't know if I would have enjoyed it as much, but I did actually find it quite interesting. And I listened to the audiobook in one day. I finished it in one day, so that was awesome. And then the next book, and the second book and last book I read of the month was Reckless because it just came out. And I was like, I was in Kmart and I saw it and I was like, okay, I don't know, it was like out already. I need to get it. So demolished that in one night too, and I did indeed annotate it. Oh my god, I needed this. I fucking needed this book, and I think part of me, possibly, I don't know if I prefer it over the second book. I mean, the first book. Like it was really good. Like you know how sometimes sequels can be quite weak compared to the first book. This was actually just as strong as the first book. I really liked it. And sorry, my nose. Oh my god, I had the heater going for a little bit just because of how cold it is. And just like their banter and how they just can't resist each other. Oh my god! And how you finally think you get like cute moments and stuff, and then bam, no happiness. But anyway, I'm very, very excited for the third book. I did start the novella. Didn't finish it, not because it wasn't written well or anything, but just because I'm just burnt out and really not in the mood to read like anything. So that's that. And then I also got my first ever Evernight subscription, which is Illumicrate's Horror Box subscription, and it is book only. And I got that the other day, and this book, the special edition, the design, like, can we just like it is the most stunning book. And then if I take off the jacket, can I? Oh my god, it's so my style. This is exactly my style. I love it so much. Kind of like a webtoon style, which I really like, especially because she is a Korean American author. And then end papers. Whoop. Like, I think this is my favorite special edition that I have. Well, aside from my Babel special edition, but like this is just. Oh, I haven't actually even looked in to see her. Yeah, and it's signed. I think actually when I do feel like reading again, I'm going to be reading this. It is just stunning, and I really like the sound of the premise. Um, Boy Parts meets My Sister, the Serial Killer. This feminist psychological horror is crawling under readers' skin. Jiwon's life tumbles into disarray in the wake of her Appa's extramarital affair and subsequent departure. Her mother, distraught. Her younger sister, hurt and confused. Her college freshman grades, failing. Her dreams, horrifying, yet enticing. In them, Jiwon walks through bloody rooms full of blue eyes. Salivatingly perfect male eyes. Eyes the same shape and shade as George's, who is Amma's obnoxious new boyfriend. George has already overstayed his welcome in her family's claustrophobic apartment. He brags about his puffed-up consulting job, ogles Asian waitresses while dining out, and acts condescending toward Jiwon and her sister as if he deserves all of Amma's fawning adoration. No, George doesn't deserve anything from her family. Jiwon will make sure of that. Jiwon's hunger and her rage deserve to be sated. I love the sound of that. Love, love, love. I love female rage, and then you add Asian rage on top of that to a racist white man. Give me all of it. So, I guess because it's August now, Halloween's coming up, I am gonna get myself starting or back into reading with horror. I miss reading. But quick pause from reading, I've been playing Harvest Moon Winds of Anthos because I just wanted another fun, cozy game to play. And I am a big farming game person. But I am also quite picky on like the graphics and the visuals of it. I want it to at least like look cute and stuff. And I really like having the option for romance in those games. It doesn't need to be like the main part of it, but I like having that option, right? And Harvest Moon has always had the option to be able to marry characters and stuff, but I feel like the previous ones I've played, like Pioneers of Olive Town, etc., and then you've also got Story of Seasons, etc., the marriage kind of becomes a little bit bland. Granted, I haven't played every single game, and I haven't played the ones before Switch. I kind of just played the ones after it first came out on the Switch, and then also I think one or two of them on the PC. And none of them gripped me as strongly. I still think my favorite game that includes like farming and romance and stuff is still Stardew Valley and Coral Island. Sunhaven's pretty good, but they're still working, I think, more into it. Last I played, there still wasn't too much with marriage, so I'm still waiting for that to be kind of implemented. But Coral Island and Stardew Valley are still my favorite marriage plus farming things. I think Coral Island, honestly, is so fun. The graphics, everything, it's so much fun. But Stardew Valley is also like just it's a classic and it's cheap. But going back to what I have actually been reading, I've been reading a lot more fan fiction. I have been reading fan fiction like over half my life since I was probably like 11 or 12. Because you know anime, K-pop, etc. Currently, and I guess for like the past long time, the fan fiction I've mainly been reading is either Joel Miller or Leon Kennedy. Simply because that's just what my brain's at right now. And sometimes I'll go back to like, you know, my OGs, like sometimes I'll read Demon Slayer fanfiction, sometimes I'll read Jujutsu Kaisen fanfiction, etc. It depends on like kind of random moods and stuff. But part of why also Victor from Arcane, can't wait for the next season because then that also means a new influx of Victor fanfiction. Thank you very much. But if you guys want really nice fanfiction recommendations, different tropes, different, you know, levels of spice, or even no spice, angst, whatever you want. Maybe one day I'll do like a just massive fanfiction recommendation or just fanfiction I've been reading, you know what I mean? But I actually kind of want to delve from that and kind of talk about a lot that I've been seeing, not only in the fanfiction community, but also just readers in general. And also things that have really just been grinding my gears. So rant time. As we all know, I consume a lot of dark content. I'm a big fan of dark content, horror, creepypastas. I started kind of my scary journey with creepypastas. I love creepypastas. And obviously read those to be scared, right? And then I always read a lot of manga. I read a lot of manga that was also quite dark, that had dark themes to it and stuff. Obviously not the only thing I read. And then I also read a lot of dark romance that I didn't realize was dark romance at the time. They never called it that in manga. That's definitely more of like a novel, like a book thing. But manga, it was mainly just called like psychological. And so I read a lot of psychological romance. Romance is a very loose term for it, especially if you read a lot of BL. A lot of it is quite toxic and psychological. A lot of BL fans enjoy the dark content. And at first, I was a bit taken aback by it and I couldn't really handle it as much. I enjoyed dark content for the sake of being horror, for being scary, but not when it's meant to be like a relationship and you're kind of like, am I supposed to be rooting for these characters? Do I want them to be together? But it's so toxic. Like, I don't. And then eventually, I'm just kind of like, you know what? I'm just here for the ride. Like, I read dark content not necessarily because I'm like, oh my god, I wish that was me, or I take like great pleasure from it. And I'm like, oh my god, that's so cute. Like, no, I enjoy it because there's like a morbid curiosity. It's the sheer toxicity and stuff like that that really, it's just intriguing and it's interesting. And like, I think a lot of people are unable to consume that type of content as well because they struggle, I guess, to have those boundaries. So like, I'll read it and then it doesn't really cross my mind again. It doesn't bleed into my daily life. It doesn't bleed into how I view reality, right? It is very much fiction. I know it's fiction. And so those kind of dark contents don't really affect how I am normally. And so with that, I also enjoy characters from certain dark fictional content, such as, you know, from horror games. I love Scream. I'll read Ghostface, like fan fiction and stuff like that. Oh my god, Ghostface. And obviously, a lot of his stuff is going to be dark. Knife play is very common. I'm not into it, but I'm going to read it. I'm not into it. And like classic dead dove do not eat, you know, angst, hurt, no comfort. I do tend to avoid no comfort because I'm like, okay, if you're gonna give me angst, I would at least like some comfort. Come on, like I'm just a simple girl. Okay, real life is painful enough. But what really bothers me is when people consume content of characters from dark content. Like Leon Kennedy is the main one I've been seeing this for, and I see a little bit with Joel Miller, but not as much. But Leon Kennedy comes from Resident Evil. It is a horror game series. It in itself is dark content, right? And because Leon Kennedy has become so mainstream and popular, not Resident Evil necessarily, but Leon Kennedy himself, because he's a pretty boy, people are not, I guess, fully understanding the content he comes from and not fully understanding he is a horror game protagonist. And I see them going, he would never do that, blah, blah, blah. Oh my god, you need to stop making him so evil. This is so out of character, blah, 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 blah. First of all, the only person who can actually accurately say what Leon Kennedy would do is the person who created him. He is a fictional character. It's whoever created him would be the only person who would 100% accurately know what he would do in any given situation. Two, he is a fictional character. He comes from a horror game. He is a fictional character. Writers can make him do whatever the fuck they want because he's not real. No real person is getting hurt. It is not having any real painful implications on a real person because it is not based on a real person. He is a fictional character. Three, people are allowed to write what they want. Canon Divergence, AU, OOC. People can write whatever the fuck they want to write. It is not in our right as readers to tell people what they can and cannot write. What is up to you as a reader is to choose what content you consume. And what's really bothering me is not enough people understand that there is a block button. There are filtering tags. If you don't want to see it, make it so that you don't see that shit instead of just constantly complaining into this fucking negative black hole and just bringing everyone into it with you. You shouldn't write this. How dare you write blah, 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 blah. That is your opinion. Okay? As someone who consumes a lot of dark content, there are certain things I don't think should be written or have any need to be written as graphic as they are. For example, sexual assault and rape. It does not need to be graphic. I do not believe it needs to be written graphically. I think perfectly fine if you need to include it, do it as an implication. Reference it. Don't give us a whole disgusting scene. One of my favorite books of all time has a pretty graphic scene with that, and I had to kind of skip it because, again, I just don't think it's necessary. But I skipped it. I didn't want to read it, so I didn't read it, and I moved on. What so many readers now, and I think possibly they might be younger readers that don't really understand how to set their own boundaries, just block it. Block the person that writes it. Block the tag. Block whatever you need to block. People include tags and warnings in fanfiction so that you can decide whether you want to continue and read it or not. And it's pissing me off because I'm like, why are you berating and belittling these readers who are wanting to write dark content, who are wanting to explore different avenues of what they want to write and what, is taboo and things like that? Why are we taking away that creative freedom? Again, you don't have to like what they're writing. You don't have to agree with it. As I said, I don't think we need to have certain graphic sexual assault and rape scenes in books, but that is personal opinion. And if I see something like that, if I see the tag non-con, I simply don't read it. Maybe I'll block if it's something that they only write. Maybe I'll block simply because then I just don't have to see it and I don't have to constantly be like, oh. It is your timeline. You are creating your own content that is showing up to you on your phone. And where you are constantly seeing things you don't want to see because you just refuse to tag, you refuse to filter, that's on you. Because at this point, you're just complaining for the sake of complaining because you like the sound of your own voice, because you like hearing yourself talk, and you want other people to, I guess, validate you. You just want attention and validation. You want to seem like, oh, I'm so much better than you because I think content like that is disgusting. You don't have to like it. No one's forcing you to read it. You're the one that chose to read it. You're the one that chose to look at that. And instead of blocking and moving on and leaving them alone, you decided to just become a hateful person with zero life because you have nothing better to do. Like, what? The block button is right there. Just use it. I've used it multiple times on those same people who have nothing better to do than complain about things that are easily fixed. Just block it. I have blocked a lot of people simply because they bothered me even the tiniest bit. You are not about to piss me off on my own phone when I am enjoying my time. Like, they don't know you block them. If there's someone you know, talk to them. Tell them, hey, I'm not really comfortable with the content that you write, so for the sake of my mental health and setting my boundaries, I'm going to block you, just because I don't want to see that content. Like, do none of you know how to be, mature? Do none of you know how to communicate properly? Do none of you know how to use fucking buttons? Like, I'm just... And I then started seeing it in just the book community. Not just Book Talk, BookTube, it's everywhere, okay? Just the book community. Can we please just ignore content that we don't like and don't want to see? Just don't read it. Don't give them more attention. You bringing attention to this author that you don't like, bringing attention to this content that you don't like, is going to bring that to more people that might actually want to read it and might actually enjoy it, which is then going to be the opposite of your goal. Sure, you'll have some people that'll validate your same hatred, but there's going to be other people, possibly just to be spiteful towards you because they don't like you, or because they're like, actually, I kind of like the sound of that. I'm gonna go read it. How about instead of that, you just don't talk about it? It is dead to you. Just block. block, leave it, don't touch it, don't read it. Me personally, I fucking hate Colleen Hoover. I hate SJM. Unfortunately, I have a box set of SJM's Throne of Glass because I bought it before I found out about what a shit person she is. So I'm gonna get rid of that. But instead of me constantly talking about it, constantly be like, how dare you read her? How dare you enjoy her? Okay, you're a shit person for reading her, blah, 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 blah. I just ignore it. I block it. I'm like, okay, you like their content, you're recommending their content. I'm simply not going to follow you because I don't think your recommendations are going to match my taste. Oh my god, I didn't have to interact with them. I'm not spouting hatred to them. I'm just block, done. I'm at peace, they're at peace. Oh my god, what a concept. Minding your business, staying in your fucking lane. So many people don't know how to do that. So many people don't know how to stay in their fucking lane. And I'm like, I am trying to just read fanfiction. If I see something I don't like, I'll either block it or scroll past it. Do any of these motherfuckers know how to do that? Does anyone? Because, oh my god, people don't know how to mind their business. People don't know how to mind their fucking business. And people shitting on dark romance readers. Now, there is some that I think you need to possibly stop reading dark romance because I don't think you're meant to be liking it as much as you're liking it. But I enjoy dark romance and dark content because morbid curiosity. I'm just like, damn, that's fucked up. Alright. Like, I'm not like, oh my god, stab me. Like, I'll joke about it. Like, you know, I'm like, oh, Ghostface can stab me anytime. But, like, bro, come on. A lot of these people are unable to put the boundary between fiction and reality. I need you guys to learn the boundary between fiction and reality. And also not harassing people because you picture them as someone from your dark romance or just romance in general. Can we, again, staying in your lane, not being harassers, not harassing people. Because at the same time, the people that say this, you would not say it to that person's face. A lot of you would not be able to say it to that person's face. I've had people talk shit to me or about me, and I'm like, well, come and say it to me. If you have criticism, say it to me. Like, I cannot tell you how grating seeing that shit is. And I'm just like, I needed to talk about it simply because I just want people to understand to, like, just stay in their own fucking lane, please. Okay? Dark content exists because people have morbid curiosity, because people enjoy consuming dark content because they just want to consume something that's different, that's taboo, you know, something that gives them an adrenaline rush or just makes them feel something other than what they normally feel, something that is so far from reality because they don't want to be in reality, you know? Like, it is a form of escapism. Same way people watch horror movies and shit. I'm watching Hannibal, or re-watching Hannibal at the moment, you know? Like, anyway, I could go on about this forever, but that is all I'm probably going to say on that because, again, I like staying in my own lane, but I just really needed to bring that to attention, okay? Especially when it's about fictional characters. If it's a real person, completely different story, okay? If it's a real person, yeah, we need to not be damaging them. But a fictional adult character, a fictional adult character from a horror game, he is not your little Pookie Wookie, okay? Or he can be, but he's like a Pookie Wookie that kills. You know what I mean? Like, he guts people. He fucking kicks old ladies in the head. You think, oh, he wouldn't go for someone like that. He wouldn't do that. And I'm like, you realize it's an AU, right? If people want to write stepcest, let them write stepcest. No one is actually being hurt. Shit, even I've read some. Like, I'll read whatever the fuck I want to read because I'm just like curious. I'm just like, I don't get the fuss. It's like when I read Credence, I was like, I don't get the hype. Still don't get the hype. But like I read it because I was like, the fuck is going on? Doesn't mean I'm automatically going to be like, I hope I get a stepfather so I can smash. Like, no. Fiction versus reality. There is a boundary. There is a line. Some of you need to learn boundaries and lines and limits. For the love of God. Anyway, um, sorry. I forgot. On a more positive note, actually, let's go back to fun stuff. I've been getting back into art. I will not be showing my art until I am satisfied, which might be a very long time. But I did also get this new fountain pen ink that I'm going to use to maybe ink some pictures and stuff. It's the Diamine Writer's Blood. It's a complete tangent, but whatever. Anyway, I'm very excited about this. I saw it. It's like a really nice, like dark burgundy. It's really nice. And I got a bunch of Ohuhu alcohol markers, and I also got Art X coloring pencils and art markers, and I got a couple of sketchbooks. I did get this art creations one. It's just like a little one, not bleed proof. I do have the Ohuhu marker pad, which is supposed to be bleed proof, but we'll see. But it's a bit big, and so I want to kind of use that as maybe when rather than doing sketches for more like illustrative work. But right now I'm still practicing how I like using colors and stuff like that. But anyway, that's all I have really. I do want to say I got the rest of my ghost face makeup. I'm wearing the lip kit, but also how beautiful is this? Like, this is my favorite thing. Anyway, the lighting is not the best. Sorry, microphone might not be the best. Whatever. I'm tired. Okay, I'm about to get my period, so I am out of commission basically for the next week. So that's why I'm filming this now, before I go die, pretty much. But I'm going to continue reading fanfiction and books. I'm going to continue consuming dark content because none of you motherfuckers can stop me because I'm allowed to read whatever I want to read, and I will continue blocking people that annoy me. You guys should too. Highly recommend it for the peace of mind. Anyway, I'm going to go back to Hannibal and eating my cheese and bacon shapes.